If you're starting off learning Chinese, a big hurdle you're going to have to face, a difficulty, is learning the Chinese characters. A new beginner in Chinese is going to see that there's reportedly 3,000 characters that you need to learn before you're able to function in the language properly. And today I'm going to give you a little bit of hope. If you're one of those people that thinks it's going to be a extremely difficult thing. English only has 26 letters. How are you going to learn 3,000? And you look at them on the paper and they look so complex. Like, how are you going to memorize 3,000? It's something that a lot of beginners face. But there's a concept in Chinese characters, something called radicals. It's kind of like the components of each character. New beginners, they look at the character and they might think it's just a complete random assortment of odd shapes that just come together to make the letter, basically. But that's not exactly the case, because Chinese characters, they have many different repeating components. So the exact same components are just cobbled together in different ways, and that actually is what makes the different characters. Based on my cursory research, I think there's around like 200 or so different kind of components that make up these characters, and they repeat over and over and over. So it makes it so that instead of, for example, the word for mother, which is ma, instead of it being just random drawings, a trained learner will realize, oh, it's a combination of 女, which means woman, and 马, which means horse. It's these two characters smudged together creates the character for mother. So they see the different breakdowns. They don't see it as random lines on a page. So for anyone who starts learning the language, that's a big thing you need to realize. When you're learning a new character, focus on the components of it. If you're completely new, like a lot of people were back in like January of this year, when RedNote, the app, 小红书, got popular in the US, I think a lot of people, a mistake they were making, because I would see like these Americans who were like posting that they were just, it was their second day learning Chinese, and they showed a big page full of all their notes. And it's nice to see I guess, their thirst for knowledge, their ambition to learn the language. But I could tell the way they were writing the characters, it seemed like they were just scribbling down stuff on the page that they just, like they weren't doing it systematically whatsoever. They were just, it was the same as like drawing a picture. Like, this is how you draw a stick figure. You draw the line down the middle and the two legs. Like, that seemed like how they were doing it. They weren't going about it in the right way. When you're learning Chinese characters, you need to look at each component, learn what those components are, and you don't need to remember all the components before you get started learning characters. But as you go, as you're learning these characters, what you need to do is you need to put a special focus on the different components within it. So when you're learning a character, maybe see what the radical is. And the radical is basically, well, actually, if you're going to go back old-fashioned and look in a Chinese dictionary, you'll see that dictionaries used to be organized by radical. So whatever the radical is, there's a certain one on each character. You just have to memorize which part, which component of the character it is. But in the past, when you wanted to look up a word in like an old-fashioned paper dictionary, it would be based on the different radical, and then that's how you would find it. So if you know, ooh, the radical in this word is the symbol for water, you would go to the water section, and then you would find the number of strokes in the character. So that's kind of how it used to work in the past. It used to be more important that you memorize them, but now with technology, we don't need to put as much of a focus on it. Because, you know, we can look up on a digital dictionary and it's all going to be there for us. But that's kind of my 2 cents on learning characters. Don't go about it the wrong way. Save yourself a lot of trouble and make sure you learn the different components, because that'll save you a lot of headaches down the road.